Here on my channel, we talk about pursuing minimalism with grace. So today I'm going to share with you 5 strange but true money saving hacks. These are 5 things that I do to save me probably, it's not exaggerating, to save thousands of dollars. And some of them I started fairly recently and they have been life-changing. I'm also going to throw in one bonus tip at the very end in case you've heard of this trend going around called de-influencing. It's very interesting, but we'll get into that at the end of this video. My first strange but true hack is that I time my spending with my monthly cycle. Yes, I time my spending with my period because I've realized that because of all the hormonal changes that are going on each month that women experience, where our hormones go through some big monthly spikes and valleys. This means that our happiness chemicals fluctuate and we may be more prone to impulse spending during certain weeks or spans of days. So I definitely found that this was true for me. During the week before my period and the week of my period, I felt desperate for that dopamine hit from buying something new and shiny or getting a package in the mail. So instead of fighting that, I just work with my cycle to time my purchases accordingly. In the week leading up to my period, when I'm in that, what is it called? Luteal? Now I can't remember. But whatever the stages of your cycle before your period starts, I don't know. But when I remember, I'll put the words up here. That's when I do some shopping, especially online shopping, because I know it might take a little while for packages to come. So that's a great time to plan purchases to take place during that stage of my cycle, and then that gives me a little boost of happy, feel-good hormones, and then the week of my period the packages arrive and that gives me another boost of hormones. And if these are purchases I'm going to be making anyway, I think it's worth scheduling them for the weeks when emotionally maybe I'm looking for that or craving it, because I don't think minimalism is just about depriving yourself and never buying anything and not having any fun, but when you postpone or delay your gratification or strategically time it, then you aren't living from like a deprived state of mind, and it's easier actually to say no to certain things because you know you're saying yes to something else or just later. A way you can find out if this is helpful for you is to use my second tip, which is to keep a running list whenever you feel like buying something, or you ever have that thought pop into your head of like, oh, I want that. Write it down. For me, I keep a running list here on my phone in my notes app, so it's always, pretty much always, not very far away. In addition to like normal grocery shopping lists, etc., I have a list for house stuff like bamboo shades for the kitchen because there's no shades in this kitchen. One night I really wanted to buy a pink velvet chair for my office and I almost bought one from Amazon, but I put it on my list instead because remember, we're scheduling our purchasing with our cycle. So I put it on my list instead so I wouldn't forget, and guess what? I haven't bought the chair yet because I haven't really needed it. Maybe I'll buy one eventually, but till then I know I have the idea saved, and when I feel the actual need for a new office chair, then I'll know exactly what to get. And then other things like getting a big Cricut machine to do big projects, because I have like the little mini one. The Joshua Becker books, I've never read them and I almost bought them. It's always at night when I'm on my phone. I almost bought them, but instead I put it on here so I have it in my list, so if I'm going to reward myself sometime, I have this list to pull from. There's also stuff like, well, there's a lot of different books that I want. Once upon a time, this was on my list. This little mushroom mug. That was a fun little purchase. There's stuff that I'm looking for thrifting. There's a specific list here for clothing that I'm looking for, like a Suzanne sweater or blouse, which I will scour Poshmark for, one that's in my budget, and new slippers, because mine are looking pretty bad. Maybe I don't need a gua sha stone. I can just use my face roller, my rose quartz face roller that I already have, before I go out and buy some fancy like aesthetic tool. It's really handy to have a running list of stuff that you want / need, and it also helps to put that little bit of space between you and your impulse purchasing. And I kid you not, this has saved me thousands of dollars because it is so easy to just click add to cart. Another way that this is super helpful, it's helpful because you have a list to go off of. You can use it for gift lists, you know, asking people for things that you want. You can use it to schedule your purchases. It gives you some space between that impulse to buy something and actually considering whether it's the best use of your money at the time. Oh, and then lastly, keeping a running list like this helps you track what sort of things you're drawn to. What things are you craving, and when are you craving them, and why you're craving them. So it really helps you think through your own impulse spending and when and why you want to buy certain things. So I've found that I have been very influenced by certain influencers from YouTube or Instagram, and how I really figured that out was I noticed what a large percentage of things that I added to my list were things that I saw on their Instagram or videos. And that's also how I figured out my first tip of timing things with the month. So third is don't buy in bulk. And yes, this is very controversial because we've been told for a very long time that buying in bulk will save you money. Hence why there are giant Costco's everywhere, where most of those places you have to pay for a monthly membership, so you have a fee that you must pay to then save money. And then so much of that stuff, I mean, here's the thing, unless you're a family with like 6 kids or more, or teenagers that eat a ton, you buy in bulk and then there's so much that you won't be able to use that before it expires. When you buy in bulk, it takes up so much storage space and so much of it ends up getting thrown out. I can say this as an organizer because I know from organizing people's pantries that most of the time when you're buying in bulk, you will only use a fraction of those things that you're buying. And honestly, when you consider the cost of storing 20 containers of ketchup versus the extra price per ketchup bottle of buying them when you actually need them, it just doesn't add up. I mean, your square footage in your house is a premium price. So you gotta make sure your storage spaces are really working for you. And if it's taken up with a 5-gallon bucket of molasses, I mean, is that really the best use of space? Plus, that's kind of gross. There are exceptions, of course. If you are a baker and you bake sourdough bread and you are baking multiple loaves every week, you probably will need to have a lot of stuff on hand for that. If you have a ton of kids, or you have kids who eat a ton, you will probably need to have more on hand than a mom of 2 young boys. Well, they do eat a surprising amount. The way that those bulk places really make their money is from the memberships that you may or may not be using enough, and also packaging stuff in bulk that is more than you can ever use. And sometimes it's not even that much cheaper to buy in bulk. Like, you think you're getting a good deal just because it's a package of 50 granola bars, and so you assume because it's at Costco or BJ's or whatever that it's going to be a good deal, when actually if you price it out, it's the same. You just got to be careful with buying in bulk. Number 4 is to cancel subscriptions or automatic deliveries. this also might be surprising because a lot of delivery or subscription services advertise that they will save you money. So they will give you a 15% discount on Amazon Prime if you subscribe to 5 items. I think there's a discount on Grove Collaborative for their cleaning products and such. You can get free stuff, you can get discounts the more you buy. But that's really the kicker, isn't it? It's the more you buy, the more you save. Yet if you buy nothing, you save 100%. I've definitely fallen into this trap, especially with Amazon Subscribe and Save, where I would subscribe to things and try to get 5 subscriptions going so that I could save the 15%, when if I didn't subscribe to as many things, including if I didn't subscribe to stuff that I didn't really need, I would save a lot more than 15%. I would be saving 100%. Every subscription service that I have tried, and subscription services that I've seen my clients use, the subscriptions are just never quite timed right. So, for instance, when I used Amazon Subscribe and Save for diapers and wipes, I was getting way more diapers and wipes than I could handle and use up before my kids grew to the next size, and then I would have all of these left over and they were not returnable, and I had to dispose of them somehow and then change my subscription to the next size up. But it was just a big hassle, and so I always ended up with extras that I didn't need. I wanted to have more green, eco-friendly cleaning supplies, so I subscribed to Grove and realized I literally could not come up with enough stuff each month for an order. And they allow you to skip months, but you still are paying a membership fee, and I wasn't taking advantage of it because there's no way I can use up a whole bottle of window cleaning stuff in a month, plus, a bottle of toilet cleaning stuff. I mean, that stuff lasts me months. I don't use that much to clean a window or clean a toilet. Does that say a lot about my cleaning habits? I don't know. Or even every other month, because I would try adjusting my subscriptions to every other month or every 3 months. It just wasn't worth it. It made so much more sense and saved me so much more money to just buy cleaning supplies when I needed it, without the pressure of trying to meet a minimum order threshold or save 15%. A big one that I've seen for other people, I've never subscribed to Chewy, but I've helped clients with organizing their basements, where they just have deliveries of dog food and pet supplies arriving all the time, and they cannot get their subscription dialed in to the amount that their pets actually use, and so it just leads to a whole bunch of extra stuff that they are paying for that they cannot use all of. I've seen that multiple times. Chewy is never going to sponsor me. Grove is never going to sponsor me either. That's okay. I'm saving you money, so it's worth it. Okay, so tip number 5, schedule an Amazon day to order things. So, as you know, on Amazon, it is super easy to hit that buy now button and just swipe over, and then before you know it, it's at your doorstep the next day. I suggest scheduling an Amazon day where every month, that's when you make all of your Amazon orders. So then they should roughly all come together. It's going to save on packaging, it's better for the environment, and for all the reasons we already mentioned, it's much better for your wallet and impulse purchasing, because if you know on the 15th of every month, that's your Amazon order day, you can plan ahead, you can go ahead and add things to cart, but not buy now, and then wait until that day to check out and do all of your Amazon buying. You can do this with any online site that you find yourself doing a lot of one-off impulse purchasing from. You could also schedule so you have one day a month where you do any clothing shopping for the whole month. So you're not buying bits and pieces of clothing online throughout the month. You have one shopping day, and that's the day you get it all done. That really helps you with your budget and planning where to spend your money and prioritizing what things are most important, because then you're not buying a bunch of sweaters when what you really need are shoes. But also keeping a list is going to help with that too. For the bonus tip, I don't normally like jumping on board with trends, but this whole de-influencing trend is a good one, because let me tell you, even as a self-proclaimed minimalist, boy, am I influenced. I probably have on my list of my shopping list of stuff like a Stanley cup. I have water bottles. Why do I need a Stanley cup? And my water bottle is perfectly fine. And isn't the point of water bottles supposed to be that they're more sustainable? Do you remember when it was super trendy to have the metal, what were they called, sip bottles that were like really sleek and metal with the screw top cap, and they came in all different colors and designs? Those ones were really cool for a while. And then the Nalgene bottles, remember when those were the cool water bottle to have? It just goes in cycles. There's always a cool water bottle. But it's that way with everything, right? Like, mushrooms are cool. This is a very trendy sweater that I was influenced to buy from an Instagram ad. Thanks, Instagram. I was influenced to buy this teacup, mushroom cup, from a YouTuber. My hair clip is from a brand called Kish. Wow, that's hard to say. And I used a discount code from an influencer. And it's not all bad, obviously. Like, I love this hair clip. I use it. I love this mushroom sweater and my mug. I use these things. But how much of what we're influenced to buy are things we actually need and use, and how much of them could we be just fine without and save all that money? And I think that's why de-influencing is important. If you find there's certain Instagram or YouTube accounts that are always making you feel like, ooh, I'm going to add that to my list because now I'm keeping track of my spending impulses. If you find there's somebody that's constantly making you feel like you need certain things, maybe it's time to take a break. You can unsubscribe from their channel. If my channel does that to you, you can unsubscribe from me. You can unfollow or mute for a while and just take a break to notice what's going on and pay attention to when you're tempted to buy things and your thought process. Is it to hide some inner insecurity or fear of scarcity, or trying to keep up with the Joneses and impress people online or in real life? Once you take the time to recognize your motivation, you can decide if it's worth making that purchase or not. So those are my 5, technically 6, strange but true tips for saving thousands of dollars. If you have any strange but true money saving tips, let me know in the comments below. Let me know which of these tips you would like to try, and I will be cheering you on. And I'll see you soon.